Hello, class. The Bullitt Center, built in Seattle, Washington in 2013, is considered to be the most sustainable office building in the world. A project with such high performance level has never been done at this scale before. The Bullitt Center comes in at 52,000 square feet with a project cost of $32.5 million. The project team starts and ends with the owner and developer of the building. The Bullitt Foundation, a sustainably charged private foundation that founded Earth Day and promotes responsible human activities and green communities, is the sole owner of the property. The Bullitt Foundation had clear goals set for the development of the Bullitt Center. Dennis Hayes, the foundation's CEO, understands the harsh effects buildings are having on our environment. As a result, his goal for the project was to show what's possible, increasing the pace of change in the movement towards high performance, green buildings, and resilient cities. The Living Building Challenge is the best framework for the Bullitt Center to meet the end goal. The program, made up of 7 petals, is considered to be the most intense green framework and the best for the environment. Much of the framework relies on self-produced and renewable resources in order to become more environmentally independent and self-sustaining. No project of this size had ever become Living Building certified. With the team in place, the best approach to maximize expertise and efficiency was with an integrated design process. This consists of all parties being engaged in all aspects of the project as a complete team from beginning to end, allowing for every partner's point of view to be considered in an effort to come up with the best possible solution. Regarding the construction of the Bullitt Center, first and foremost, existing on-site was a single-story restaurant with a large asphalt parking lot. The site needed to be cleared in order to start the project. Once the site was cleared and the structure of the new building was being erected, it was important to the design team to minimize the embodied carbon used in harvesting and producing building materials. To produce concrete, a lot of carbon and energy is expended. For this reason, the use of concrete was minimized to the foundation and first floor of the building for structural reasons. Heavy timbers from FSC certified forests made up the rest of the structure, which was much more environmentally friendly. Next, as a result of being able to build from a clean site, the building was oriented to maximize energy production. 575 total solar panels were designed and installed in an array above all neighboring roof lines. They have the capacity to generate an estimated 230,000 kilowatt hours per year, enough to power almost the entire building on its own. Also, as a result of the building's orientation, natural daylighting is maximized, allowing for the reduction of artificial lighting. The Bullitt Center's design includes the use of a triple glazed curtain wall facade that allows a specific level of light into the building and also controls the heat transfer from inside to out. All workstations are also within 24 feet of the exterior facade, ensuring that all building occupants will have access to daylight. Finally, an automated blind system is also part of the daylighting strategy. Blinds can reduce or increase glare and quality of light depending on the specific task at hand. In situations where artificial light is needed, LEDs are used. In regards to optimizing air circulation and occupant comfort, the Bullitt Center's curtain wall facade also has operable windows allowing for air quality, building temperature, and comfort to be personalized per occupant. Being glazed on 3 of 4 sides enables air to circulate properly with taller floor-to-floor heights, allowing for heat to rise and exit the building. Lastly, in terms of energy, a geothermal well and heat pump system was paired with a radiant slab system to provide heating and cooling to the building spaces. This system takes advantage of the heating and cooling properties of the Earth's surface to heat or cool water or glycol, which is then pumped throughout the Bullitt Center's floor slabs and released into the building. Heat is also recovered by taking advantage of hot exhaust air to preheat the incoming supply, reducing the energy needed to comfort the space. As a result of these energy-saving, sustainable strategies, the Bullitt Center is a certified net zero energy building. In its first year in operation, the development actually produced energy in excess of what it used. The first water-saving tactic is related to the solar array on the building's roof. Underneath the panels is a complex rainwater catchment and harvesting system. Rainwater is captured and piped down to the center's basement and put through various filters and an ultraviolet light treatment. At the time of the design, the system was meant to produce potable water for occupant use. Due to current regulations, however, this has not been allowed. As a result, the filtered water can still be used similarly as gray water. Gray water is filtered similarly, but instead of going through an ultraviolet light treatment, it is pumped back up to a green roof where the wetland treatment system treats the water. Self-filtered gray water is used in multiple ways at the Bullitt Center. Not only is it used for non-potable use within the building, but also to provide irrigation to McGillivray Park, the first certified living park in Seattle, which is located directly adjacent to the Bullitt Center. Lastly, instead of using traditional plumbing and toilet fixtures, the Bullitt Center provides composting toilets for building occupants. The strategy saves the building much water. A typical standard toilet uses 1.6 gallons of water per flush, whereas composting toilets use nearly nothing. In a building that will have over 100 workers, the difference in water use is significant. Black water and waste are emptied from the composters roughly 2 to 4 times per year. From there, before being released back into the environment, the black water is also filtered through a dense constructed wetland that will absorb all toxins before the waste is sent off and used as fertilizer off-site. After taking into account the water savings from these sustainable techniques, the building is also certified net zero water. The Bullitt Center is one of the only buildings in the world to be both net zero water and energy. Quite the significant accomplishment for a building this size. Regarding the finishes used in this project, the designers were sure not to use any red list or VOC emitting products that have the potential to cause issues such as sick building syndrome. Studies have provided evidence that the fresher the building environment, the more productive tenants' employees will be. With such high levels of technology also within the building, there is need for a system to help automate the various components. The building monitoring system contains sensors that will control the blinds, mechanical and ventilation systems, among other things. By monitoring and optimizing when systems will need to be adapted, energy use is minimized. Minimizing building energy, carbon, and water use is only half the battle. Changing the culture we are used to is important as well. Instead of providing a parking lot or garage on site, no vehicular parking is offered. A bicycle garage with locker rooms are a part of the building's program in an attempt to get building users to not drive to work and instead run or ride a bike or find a more sustainable form of transportation. Tours are also given of the building to further educate the public on what can be done and what is being done to make our world a healthier place. Finally, the monumental stair that is so visible from the building's exterior entices people to travel between floors using this path and also provides incredible views of the city skyline. From a contractor's point of view, certain measures needed to be taken into account, such as material recycling, material sourcing and use, future updates, and air quality. Schuchart, the general contractor, made sure all material waste was disposed of properly and recycled as necessary. The building's heavy timber structure was sourced from within 1,000 kilometers of the building's site, minimizing as much vehicular pollution as possible. In addition to recycling construction waste, salvage materials were used as often as possible, especially within the tenant fit-out spaces. Indoor air quality was also sure to be monitored throughout the construction process to ensure the healthiest situation possible. Weekly meetings with all subcontractors and consultants took place to ensure all goals and requirements were followed. Finally, in order for future green upgrades to be made, construction needed to be easily disassembled so new products could be switched out, making the building even more green and adaptable. Mandates and codes certainly needed to be followed throughout the process. The project manager needed to meet with the city to have the Seattle Land Use Plan amended to allow the project to exceed building height limitations. Seattle is also considered to have one of the more progressive energy codes in the United States. In addition to the energy code, according to State Code Revision 39.35D, all new construction also had to, at minimum, be certified LEED Silver. Being living certified far exceeds these requirements and then some. Basic code requirements such as storm management regulations and drinking water regulations also had to be managed, but those were more common. Due to regulations, the Bullitt Center's potable water filtration system was not approved, even though it was installed during construction. Due to the relative newness of sustainable construction, many risks were associated with the project. Compared to a conventional building, these systems were relatively untested. As mentioned, many hurdles had to be navigated and approvals had to be sought for the building to operate at full capability. Not all attempts were successful. Zoning was able to be amended, but potable water use was not. Sustainable design also comes with significant cost premiums as well. As noted later in this presentation, the Bullitt Foundation had a hard time obtaining financing for this project. The Bullitt Center cost 23% more than a conventional building. CEO Dennis Hayes from the Bullitt Foundation stated that this was the result of soft costs due to trying something new for the first time. It wasn't normal, there wasn't as much expertise. Hidden inside the 23% premium, however, was an $18.5 million benefit in lifetime savings. The Bullitt Center was designed to last nearly 250 years, much longer than expected for a conventional building. All sustainable systems added first costs. The biggest culprit was the solar array, which alone added nearly $1 million to the final costs of the project. As noted, however, each system will save the Bullitt Foundation much more than initial premiums. As you can see, for example, the solar array will save the project 3 times more than it cost. Obtaining financing wasn't an easy task for the Bullitt Center. Hayes also stated that the foundation had to put much more equity in the project than they expected. The most generous of loan offers came from U.S. Bank, who would provide 50% of the construction value through the New Market Tax Credit and 3 community development entities, EcoTrust, MBS Urban Initiatives, and the Seattle Investment Fund. With assets valued at nearly $100 million, this meant 16% of their portfolio's value had to be initially invested in the project. That's an unusually large amount because no loan agency knew how to accurately value the Bullitt Center due to its advanced sustainable technologies. In an attempt to mitigate the cost premiums and initial risk, the Bullitt Center was eligible for many tax credits and rebates. The New Market Tax Credit, which was associated with their loan, was awarded as a result of building in a targeted, potentially struggling neighborhood. The Bullitt Center is thought to bring life back to the area and hopefully bring more development. Another credit was given for the use of renewable energy, specifically from the solar panels. Also from the panels was a rebate for all state sales tax in the state of Washington. Last, the center took part in a benchmarking program called MEETS. MEETS measured building performance and rewarded high-performance projects with utility savings. As a certified net zero water and energy project, MEETS suited the Bullitt Center well. It should also be noted that with the New Market Tax Credit and the loan provisions given in their agreement, their loan could be forgiven early if all terms were met. As a result, the cost of the project can be adjusted from $625 per square foot to $241, well below the conventional average. As the building entered operation, the project's goal was still to change the tenant's culture. It did so by having each tenant sign a green lease. The agreements consisted of energy budgets that each tenant was obligated to meet. As an incentive for meeting individual budgets, tenants had to pay little to nothing for utilities. In 2014, the Bullitt Center's first full year in operation, all tenants who met their energy budgets did not pay anything for electricity for the entire year. Overall, the Bullitt Center development can be deemed a success. To end the presentation with one last quote, Dennis Hayes said, "One building by itself has zero impact on the world's climate, but a building that is influential and begins to change the way that architects, engineers, contractors, developers, and financial institutions shape the built environment, that's a building that was worth building." Thank you.